What's going on, guys? My name is Derek. Welcome to my channel, Superbike Life, or ESBKLife for short. On this channel, I do a lot of tech stuff on European sport bikes. How-tos, modifications, fixing bikes. We also do some track days and some product reviews. If you're looking for someone riding these bikes, ripping up and down the road at 100 miles an hour, doing wheelies and stunts and crazy shit like that, this is not the channel for you. But if you're interested in how to fix your bike, how to modify your bike, and track days, some product reviews, then consider clicking subscribe right now because I don't want you to miss any great content. This is the latest episode of my wrecked bike rebuild video series sponsored by Bellissimoto, where I take a 2012 MV Agusta F4RR Corsa Corta that has been down several times, by the way. Not by me, but and we build it into a badass street bike with the help of Bellissimoto and a couple of my other sponsors. If you're not aware of who Bellissimoto is, they are the industry leaders in performance and aftermarket parts for your European sport bike. However, if you don't happen to be owning a European sport bike, you're still rolling around on Japanese, be it your ZX-10, your Kawi, your CBR, what have you, they got parts for you too. Check them out, bellissimoto.com. Just plug in your bike's year, make, and model, and they'll show you everything that they have for your bike. Or give Lyle a call or drop him an email. I believe it's sales@bellissimoto.com or info@bellissimoto.com. I'll put the link over here somewhere on this page. Send them an email, Lyle will get right back to you. Those are great guys over there. And if you happen to be in the Las Vegas area, be sure to stop into the shop. Lyle and owner Randy, they love showing everyone around the shop what they're doing back there. They got a lounge back there with video games where they're throwing on new parts. So great bunch of guys over there. Again, bellissimoto.com. Check them out. This latest episode of my wrecked bike rebuild, it's been a minute. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a loyal subscriber, then welcome back. But you also know that I haven't posted anything in quite a long time. And primarily because it's weather. I won't go into all the other details why, but primarily weather. I've been back from my New England trip where I took all of these bikes. You can't see the other ones over here, but I loaded them all up in my trailer and I went back to New England where I'm from. Spent some time with my brother and we did some riding. We did some modifications on my track bike as well as this wrecked bike rebuild. He bought a new bike and so we did some stuff, but I've been back for a while, but I haven't posted anything, and primarily weather. It is monsoon season here in the Valley of the Sun, which means we get lots of heavy rains at night, so thunderstorms and things of that nature. But it also means that it's ripping hot during the day. It's been 115 at least almost every day. We've had a couple of days of 120, which means my garage is at least 10 to 15 degrees hotter, even with my tiny portable AC over there, and it's just been brutal. Today is the first day we've had under 100, and I think it's about 98, believe it or not, which means it's about 105 or so in my garage right now, and I'm sweating like a madman. So there'll be lots of cuts in this video, so you have to see me sweating. But yeah, it's just been brutal. And riding here in the valley, for lack of a better term, it sucks. It's a grid. I have to travel 50 to 75 miles outside of the city just to get to a good ride. And I can't do that during the day, and you would like to do that during night when the sun goes down, but it's been raining. Like I said, lots of heavy thunderstorms. So today, I finally have an opportunity to record. Also, I've had some parts to come in. They're behind me. I'll show you guys those right now. And primarily, those are the two reasons that I haven't done anything recently: weather and lack of parts. And I'll explain that to you in just a second. But yeah, latest episode of Wrecked Bike Rebuild. I got some body parts in, got some other good stuff in. We're gonna throw all that on the bike today. So let's go and take a look right now. Welcome back, guys. And here are the body parts that I've been waiting for. I ordered these back in May from Moto Composites. Great company, we'll talk about them in a minute. But I ordered these back in May. And if you remember, the very first video we had a couple of goals. One was to check the bike out, make sure that it was okay, and determine what we needed. Then we wanted to get the bike streetable, and then we were gonna start modifying it. So we're still working on really part 2 here, getting the bike streetable. And technically, I can make this streetable without all the body parts, but it's a super bike. Not only that, it's an MV super bike, and we need the body parts to put it on the street so we can ride it and so forth. So I ordered these carbon fiber body parts from MotoComposites.com. I'll put the link on the screen right now, as well as in the description. I like Moto Composites body parts. I use them all on my Aprilia RSV4 factory over here. But I use their parts because they fit really well. I don't have to make a whole lot of modifications to them to get them on the bike and get them fitting properly. They're relatively inexpensive, and unless you have an MV, they almost have everything else in stock. So I ordered these again back in May, and they just came in the other day. And you may be asking, why do I have two tail sections? Well, this tail section here is from Moto Composites, and as you can see, there is no cutout for the tail light. This is a racing tail section, and while it looks gorgeous and it is fantastic, I cannot use that. So I had to order this one from Bellissimo. That's a carbon Vani tail section, but we'll talk about that in a second. But back to Moto Composites. And there are a couple of reasons why I like using Moto Composites. First, they produce their carbon fiber parts in two variations. First is full carbon fiber, which means it's carbon fiber all the way through. And the second, more affordable option is carbon fiber, is fiberglass with a carbon fiber overlay. And that's what these parts are. And I like using fiberglass with carbon fiber overlays. One, because they're at least 40 to 60% cheaper than a full carbon fiber piece. The other reason is 99.99% of the carbon fiber parts that I put on my bikes, and probably you as well, is for aesthetic purposes only. They're not for performance reasons or strengthening reasons or anything like that. I'm going for a specific look, and I want a carbon fiber look, and I want that carbon fiber look as inexpensively as possible. And the way to do that is with a fiberglass piece with carbon fiber overlays. And that's what all of these pieces are, except for the carbon Vani part. So check them out, motocomposites.com. And here's the deal. A lot of manufacturers, I won't say all and I won't name names, but a lot of manufacturers are selling you full carbon fiber parts when they're actually fiberglass with carbon fiber overlays, and they're just not telling you that. Moto Composites is telling you that, and these parts considerably, at least 50% less than a full carbon fiber piece. And they look spectacular, and chances are, if I didn't tell you that it was fiberglass with a carbon overlay, you wouldn't have known the difference either. But let's take a look at these. So first, we have our upper front fairing. Again, this is a fiberglass piece with carbon overlay. Has all the mounting attachments. Lightweight piece, not as light as a full carbon fiber piece, but I'm not concerned with that. This is a street bike, and chances are, in fact, it's not chances are, it's factual that all of my bikes in here, the F3, my Track S1000, my wife's Can-Am, as well as the RSV4 over in that corner, and our project bike, these bikes are all better than me as a rider right now. So saving a few ounces and spending a few $100 more on this piece, just so what can be full carbon fiber, is not going to make me any faster. It's not going to make me a better rider. That piece has the look that I'm after, so I went with that piece, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than a full carbon fiber piece. We also have our airbox cover, along with the piece that goes inside of it. And then our street tail fairing, and this one is a full carbon fiber piece. As you see, it has the cutouts for our tail lights, both there and there. And one of the things I was concerned with buying this solo seat, as you see, there's no provisions for a passenger seat on this fairing, is how I was going to get it off. So if you come back over here to our bike, on our normal F4, there would be a passenger seat here. You put the key in, you unlock the passenger seat here, we slide forward, and then there's you can't really see, it's a little dark, so I apologize, but there's a latch down in there, and you push the latch, which disengages the seat. With a solo seat, I was concerned as how I was going to do that. And when this piece showed up, I was like, oh boy, what am I going to do here? Once I put the seat on and install it, there's no way I'm going to be able to get it off. Well, Carbon Vani thought of that, and they have this little trap door here that's held on with 2 screws. You pop that out, you can get your finger in there, and then you can actuate that release lever, and you can pop the seat off. So we are good there as well. So those are all the carbon fiber pieces, and now we can take a look at a couple of the other things that I got in as well. And they're all right here. We're going to talk about those in a minute. But I wanted to show you this tank. So you notice the tank is red. So I have my stock tank over here, the white one. And if you remember my last wreck bike rebuild video, I was unhappy with the body lines and the gaps on the tank that I currently had. These gaps were uneven. This gap over here was super narrow and this gap was really wide. And I didn't want to go ahead and get the bike all painted and everything and then worry about these gaps. So I found this tank from an awesome guy on Facebook. I can't remember his name, but awesome guy in Florida who sold me this tank. And obviously it's been down. It has a little bit of rash here, but I'm not worried about that. We can sand that down and we're going to paint this thing anyway. But I was concerned whether it's going to fit properly. And this tank fits a hell of a lot better than our stock tank down there. So I'm really, really happy with this. I'm not worried about the color. Not concerned about that. But back over here to the other parts. So we have a couple of things. We got a race ECU. Thank you to David down in Mexico for sending this to me. He is now a subscriber, so thank you again, David. Got a great price on this. We got a race ECU. Even though we have our Rapid Bike Evo unit on here, we're going to pull that off, but I'm not going to install the race ECU today because I'm going to do two things. One, I want to do a dyno run beforehand with the Rapid Bike installed, and then we're going to pull that off and then throw on the race ECU and see if we have any improvements. So we're not going to install that today. The other thing here is we have our steering stem nut from CNC Racing. It's black. We're also not going to install that today. Reason being is I have a triple clamp, a custom triple clamp coming from Germany, and it's not here yet. It's still a couple of weeks away, and it doesn't make any sense to install that one until the triple clamp gets here. So we're not going to install that. We have some Tygon clear rubber tubing. I have that because it has become painfully obvious that the placement of our reservoirs, the brake and the clutch, is very incredibly critical in properly maneuvering the handlebars left and right. Initially, I had them too high and it was hitting this. Then I had them too far forward and it was hitting the dash. So it's really critical where they go. And unfortunately, in moving them around, I've had to I basically had to go back to using the stock hose on one. So we got a black, you can't see it. Oh, actually I can go down here. There's a black hose on one side here and the other side has a clear Tygon hose. So I'm going to be consistent. So we got some more Tygon clear rubber tubing from Curvy Girl, as you can see, and we're going to install that at some point, probably not today. And we have a new dash. And you might be wondering, why the heck do you have a new dash? Well, at some point on my travel back from New England, that happened. I don't know how it happened. This bike was in the trailer on the way out, and it was in the back of the truck covered on the way back. I don't know how that happened, but it's cracked. The entire dash is fine, but the housing is cracked. So we're going to swap that over yet again because I'm lucky enough to have another one. I started out with not having any dashes, and now I have 3, so I got another housing. We're going to swap that over. But we're going to put all the body parts on it, and the bike will be ready for paint. And that's going to go to paint sometime later this week, hopefully Wednesday or Thursday, and we're going to start getting it painted. And I haven't ordered the other parts because I don't know what the paint is going to look like yet. And you might be saying, Derek, why don't you know what the paint is going to look like yet? The reason being is that Mo Modred of Bad Boy Designs in Glendale, Arizona, or maybe Peoria, I'm not sure. He's right on the border, so one of those. But Mo Modred of Bad Boy by Designs is going to paint this bike for me for free. Now, Mo normally paints cruisers and custom choppers and things like that. But I proposed that he help me out on this project, paint the bike for free. I'll let him do whatever it is he wants, but the little caveat, I'll let him do whatever it is he wants, and then when I go to track days and bike nights, I'll display the bike, and it'll basically be a rolling advertisement for his work. But again, I don't know what the bike is going to look like because I've given him pretty much free rein. I told him no skulls, no crossbones, and no flames. Other than that, it's free rein. So all the other parts that I want to purchase for this bike have color options. And until I know what the paint looks like, I don't want to purchase those parts and then have to send them back because they don't match with the color combinations and paint schemes that Mo came up with. So I don't know what this bike is actually going to look like when it's completed. I did order my wheels. You guys that are following me on Instagram, you already know what those are, but you don't know the color. I'm not going to tell you. But I talked to Mo, and he sort of gave me an idea of what he's thinking and said that I can work with that, Derek, so go ahead and order them. So I've placed that order. Those wheels should be here in a couple of weeks. But other than that, I have no idea what this bike is going to look like paint-wise. And until I do, I'm not ordering those other parts. So enough talk. Let's head on over to the bike and start throwing some of these carbon fiber parts on. And that way you don't have to watch me sweat like a slave over here. Anyway, let's go, guys. So I'm going to start by removing the fairings here. When we're done, this is pretty much all the body panels on this bike are going to be carbon fiber. The only thing that won't be carbon fiber will be this front fairing and the tank. Everything else will be carbon fiber. Screwed those in. So these, you can see this one is pretty nasty. These are on order from Moto Composites as well. And basically we're going to have a carbon fiber theme going here. So if you remember, this piece will go here. And then we have our side tank covers. I've also ordered these in carbon fiber. These will go here. So we'll have carbon fiber here and then the tail section. And I'm going to leave these pieces carbon fiber and a section of the tail will expose carbon fiber, but not the entire tail. So these, again, are on order from Moto Composites. They should be here not too long because I've been told those are in stock. And the next thing we want to do is we'll remove the seat. It's not bolted down, it's just sitting there. And we're also going to remove our tank. Now, again, the tank is not installed. In fact, we just lift it out. I don't even have the components in here. It's completely empty. It's just been sitting up here, so we'll take that down. And now we can work on getting off this side cover and our airbox cover. Okay, airbox cover is off. Now we just need to get our new one, put the piece in here, pop it back on. All right, guys, I want to show you guys something real quick. So this is the inside of our airbox, and as you can see here, this piece is held in here with what looks like they're not rivets, but they're sort of glued in place. And I assume MV didn't use screws in here because if these screws fell out, they'd fall into your airbox, and there's a good chance that they might work their way past the air filter or whatever and just cause havoc. And you know, it's possible they can fall into the velocity stacks and into your throttle bodies and just make life miserable. So instead of screwing these in, because we have the same problem or issue on our carbon fiber part, I'm going to do the same thing and glue them in place with Plasti Dip. So let's head on over to my tool top, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay guys, so we're over here at my tool chest. We'll get this seat out of the way. And here's the inside of our carbon fiber unit, our Moto Composites carbon fiber unit. And this piece slits in here, and then it sits on these two tabs. As you can see, if we put screws in there, there's a good chance that they could fall out and, like I said, fall into the velocity stacks and throttle bodies and create havoc. So what I did, don't want to scuff this up even though we're going to paint it. So I got a Scotch-Brite pad, and I scuffed up the ends where we're going to add the Plasti Dip. And we got my Plasti Dip repair kit over here. So it comes with the liquid, the powder, which comes in black or white. We're using black. A container, a transfer syringe so you can transfer the liquid to the dispenser, a needle, actually a couple of needles, and this cup. So basically all we're going to do is going to add some of this black powder in here. Whatever we don't use, we can put back in, so there's no worries there. So it's like that. And what's important to know about this stuff is that it doesn't stick to shiny surfaces, so you have to make sure that you scuff up whatever it is you're trying to bond together. So we transferred the liquid or activator here into my bottle, and we put the needle on top, and you're not going to be able to see it, but toward the end, not at the very tip, but somewhere in this range in here, there's an opening that lets the, well, you can't because my finger's in the way, but not toward the tip, but somewhere in this range in here, there's an opening in this needle that lets the fluid flow out, and then the tip is for poking it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to dip it upside down, and we're going to put 1 or 2 drops in here, then we're going to poke it, and then put it on here like that. And I'll show you what that looks like, if I can. And we'll move this over here, so you guys might be able to see what I'm doing. Maybe. All right. So here we go. Take a little drop here. I'm not going to be able to see it, but 2 drops. We poke it, and we transfer it over here. It will squirt, and we continue that process. And this is pretty much how I fixed the headlight as well. When I had a crack in the housing, and the dealer wanted to replace it for $1,300. I was like, nah, I could fix that. That $1,300 was better used elsewhere. Now you can't use too much activator on this stuff. It's not like there's a percentage. Grab a towel, and there we go. Once that sets up and dries, it'll dry as hard as a rock, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm just going to wipe out this excess here. And that actually dries as hard as plastic, unlike, say, JB Weld, which just sort of sits on the surface. This actually bonds with the material, so this will actually bond and be one piece, and you can sand it and grind it and paint it and do whatever it is you want with it after the fact. So all of those line up. I'm not going to put in the bolts behind here just yet, because I know eventually these are going to have to come off. her in there. It fits really well. There we go. Let's get our mirrors. So while we're doing this, let's talk MotoGP, because there was a MotoGP race today. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the race yet, the Austrian Grand Prix, you might want to pause this for a few minutes. So we talked about, some time ago, we talked about Jorge Lorenzo and why he wasn't doing so well. And he said, you know, I need a change to the tank shape, and you know, I need a couple other minor things, and I'll be fine. And Ducati said, yeah, we're not buying it. So they waited and waited, and they finally gave him what he wanted. And all he's done is rip off 3 wins since then. Maybe it was the tank. Maybe it was the tank. There's the right one. But yeah, he's been looking pretty good as of late. And you notice I'm not putting on those brackets again. This is all going to have to come off for paint. So we're just going to install these lightly, just so it doesn't all fall off. We can get a good representation of what the bike will look like. Just checking the holes right now. All right, so let's transfer out the rubber piece, our gasket here. right, guys, let me bring you on over here. I have been at this for several hours, and I finally got the Carbon Vani seat on here, or tail section on here. And I will say this, Carbon Vani really needs to work on their fit and finish of the parts. This wasn't even remotely close to fitting, and you also notice that I have the regular stock airbox cover back on it. The carbon fiber airbox cover, it actually fit on here, all the holes mounted up fine, but it seems to be maybe a quarter of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch too large, because when it's on here, it pushes this tank back. These gaps are really huge and nothing fits. So I don't think I'm going to be able to use the carbon fiber airbox cover, but this Carbon Vani tail, man, what a pain in the ass. So first off, I had to widen these holes and reshape the tab on both sides. Let me go over here because there's better lighting. There were tabs here on both sides. I actually had to cut those off because the Carbon Vani tail wasn't wide enough to fit the frame, and it wouldn't actually go over these. I had to actually cut these off. I had to widen these holes here, and then here on the underside, oh gosh, lighting is horrible here. Right along this edge here, on all the way around, I actually had to cut off maybe a quarter of an inch so that it can get over the base pan here. Like I said, I've been at this for a couple of hours. I had to reshape the tail light area. I'm still not quite finished here. I'm going to have to put some shims in here so that the light tilts a little bit more this way to fit these areas. But I finally got the tail light in there, and my main goal was to get 4 bolts on here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 was my main goal, and I accomplished that. The tail section is on there solid. I'm happy with that. I am a bit concerned with the seat, because once you put the seat on and click it down, there's supposed to be a door here, and there is. And when you remove that door, you're supposed to be able to get your finger in there to, push down on the lever to release the seat. Well, I'm not a particularly big guy, but I cannot get my finger all the way in there. So I got to use this screwdriver. So basically what I do is I go in there like that, and I sort of pry against, and it pops up like that, and now it comes out. So not completely happy with that, but at least I have access to that lever. Wow, I did not expect this to be this painful. This took a long time, guys. I think it's probably after 7 o'clock in the evening. I've been at this all day, shaping, cutting, putting it on, taking it off, shaping, cutting, putting it on, take it off. But it's finally on there. Again, I don't think I'll be able to use the carbon fiber airbox cover, unfortunately. I tried it with both tanks, and the spacing on it was just horrible. It was horrible. I may try it again tomorrow, but I'm tired. I didn't actually get to the dash, so I'll do that on the next one. So let's wrap this up, shall we? All right, guys. Excuse me, sorry about that. All right, that's a wrap for this episode of my Wreck Bike Rebuild, sponsored by Bellissimoto. I didn't get anywhere near done all the things that I wanted to get done today, and all I really wanted to do was get the body parts on the bike, and that shouldn't have been an all-day affair, but it is, and it has been. I've been sweating my rear end off. I'm hot, I'm tired, so I'm not going to finish up today. So I'm going to call that a wrap for this episode. The next episode, I will get I'll get all the fairings back on the bike. I will change out the dash cover because the other one on there is cracked. And hopefully some other parts will come in by then. I may even mess with the carbon fiber airbox cover, see if I can make that work. I'm not sure. But that's a wrap. Before we sign off today, one quick announcement. I am selling my F3 800. Yeah, I love the bike. It's not because I dislike the bike or it's a bad bike. It's a fantastic bike on the street, even better bike on the track, even with the horrible Angel DTs that I tried out. The reason being is that I didn't expect this F4 to fall into my lap when I bought my F3. I really don't need 4 bikes, and I certainly don't want to put at least 3 of them on the street. That means registration, insurance, and a whole bunch of unnecessary costs. So I am selling my F3 800 primarily so I can concentrate on track. So I may get another track bike. I may just dump the money into the S1000. I'm not sure, but I'm running out of space here. Don't have a whole lot of space for a whole lot of bikes. So that's the one I've decided to sell because I am not getting rid of my Aprilia. That thing is fantastic. My track bike is too far along to get rid of right now. And I think by the time this bike is done, I'm going to love it. So unfortunately, that means the F3 is low man or low bike on the totem pole. So if you're looking for a fantastic 2014 MV Agusta F3 800 EAS with ABS, I have one. Look me up. Hit me up at esbklife@gmail.com and I'll cut you guys a fantastic deal. But that is it. I am Derek. This is your Superbike Life. This is my wreck bike rebuild. Until next time, you guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, or smash it if you didn't like this one. But until next time, guys, take care.